How you guys doing?
Good morning, everybody.
Good to see you.
Morning. Good morning.
Morning.
All right, we ready, Travis?
We ready.
All right, buddy. So, hey, everybody, thanks for coming out for our OODA Loop session on Futures Networks Live, FNL. We're going to go through the charts. And again, we're here not to predict which way the price is going to go, but we're trying to have a plan for when the price goes there. So just please remember, trading futures contains risk, and only risk capital should be used. Whether you're trading futures or crypto or really any financial product that is speculative, understand it is speculative, and you can lose all your money. So be careful. Only use risk capital. So there we go. How are we this morning, Travis?
We are wonderful, as
Awesome.
long as you are.
I'm great. I feel great today. Yeah, I feel great today. I had a good night trading last night. So obviously when you do that, you wake up going, yes, green on the screen. So that's always fun. That's always nice. It's been a very good week for me trading at night. So I think when we go through the charts and then we wait after opening bell and get going into it a little bit, we'll take a look at kind of the comparisons between at night and during the day over the last week, and kind of look and see if you put up two charts next to each other, you can see, well, which one looks easier to trade, or which one looks more like it might be in my zone. So I'm not going to tell people what they should think. I want them to look at the charts and say, this one looks like it might be easier to trade. So let's get to it.
Let's get to it. So 5 minute, first thing we see is we're kind of up all morning. We're above the 200 in white, 89 in blue. And then again, the 21 in yellow, the 10 in that magenta pink color. So
I had a nice little pullback now, right?
Yeah.
Had a nice pullback. So is there any reason for me to believe the trend is down right now?
If you look at the bigger charts, possibly. From a 5 minute standpoint, no.
Okay.
So we'll see that larger term action in a minute. This could be a deep retracement from a much larger perspective. But as of right now on the 5 minute, I don't see a whole lot of reason. I mean, there is a lower high almost, so you might put a little question mark on the trend as much as we are making lower low and lower high. But overall, I mean, for the last, since yesterday even, just that's a pretty clear lightning bolt pattern. So even this down move right here is no more of a retracement on the last move up. So Correct. It doesn't really scream down trend to me, if you will.
Got it. Perfect.
Any other thoughts on the 5 minute before we go to the daily? Scrunch it a little bit. You'll see we were up high, hit a bottom. We're kind of climbing up since.
Yep. Don't forget to stop the music.
Yeah.
You bet.
All right, so let's go to the daily or the weekly.
Yeah, let's do weekly first. Let's just keep our eye on the weekly. That's something we've integrated into our charts here recently.
Well, there's our long-term sentiment right there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So unless today goes up, what is that, 39, 35 to 40, almost 100 points. So 90 points or so. We're going to see 7 reds in a row on the weekly. So that's 7 weeks in a row we've been down.
Yep. We're going to have a pretty big run today to, get us back green, aren't we?
Yeah, on the week. That'd be, again, 90 to 100 points. So,
Which is not unheard of, especially on a Friday. It's not unheard of.
I mean, most of these candles are more than 100-point candles. 40, 86. I mean, that's a weekly, remember? So that's 150, 200. The next one, same thing. So not unusual, even in the day, to see those 100-point moves. We talked about that one day. I remember it was the day we didn't record, but we talked about how the market likely to go down 100, 200 points today, and that's exactly what happened. And it
was on Wednesday. Yeah.
Either of us are magical. It was that the market was showing a deep retracement from that longer-term downtrend, and we'll talk about that on the daily in a minute. So, any other thoughts on the weekly? You want me to shrink it a little bit? We good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, you can see the unusual year between 2020, 2021. Remember, those are weekly candles, and that's a long uptrend, if you will. So
that was when we felt like everything was up only, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is never going to stop.
When I stopped being scared of all-time highs on the market, because every week we had a new one.
Yeah, like every day almost sometimes.
Yeah.
On the daily, you'd look at the daily, and it's like every day we had a new all-time high, and you almost had to just throw it out the window and say, all right, just trade normally.
Yeah, I might use it as headroom, but it didn't scare me out of trades anymore. It's like we're doing this every day now.
Yep. Well, a little different now, so I kind of like it where we're at, to be honest.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah, I like to have a little room above us to move, and room below us to move, and so I don't mind these down. Now my long-term stuff doesn't like this stuff that we're doing right now, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm sure there's some unhappy
term
hodlers, if you will, right now.
Exactly.
The hold on for dear life mentality, if that doesn't ring true to what people.
Yep.
So weekly's down. Let's go to the daily.
Yep.
It's 9:10. We got about 20 minutes. We got time.
Yeah, we got time.
So there's one 2 days ago. There's that big down right from the key level and the top of the channel. Again, you'll see it on the 240 as well. But how we had a deep retracement and then turned around and pushed down. And if you actually did your fib levels, same way you might look at a 5-minute or an execution chart, but if I go from the top to the bottom, see where it retraced to, it's right at 50%. So you're right at 50% on the fib levels, maybe a little above or under, but there's a little give on the daily. I don't want to look and say if it's not on the quarter tick, then it didn't turn around there, because there's a little give. Remember, we're looking at a daily candle. So as long as it turns around within a few points of an area, it's like, man, that's where it's supposed to turn. Yep. And seeing it turn again right at the key level we had drawn. If we go back to why it was there, it was the bodies to wicks on this area. And I say we had it drawn because it was written about in an article a month ago.
Yeah,
Everybody could have this.
We did.
Same exact level. And what's the common tendency? That was written about in the article too. Break through the level, come back, retest as a turnaround, and then push down. So from a longer term perspective, even though people say, wow, this is a big red day, this is the exact day that I said, man, if we had a 100, 200 point drop, I wouldn't even be looking for a news article, because that's what's supposed to happen from these charts. And it did. So
there's a level here that we're at right now that I think is pretty key. That if we can get above and stay above, and we're right there right now. Put a line, if you could, on 39.43 and a horizontal line. Do you see how that's the top of a body of one and a wick of another candle? So I look for these type of things when I'm drawing my levels, like what makes sense to me. So if I look at there it is. So you see how we have the top there, the body there. When those two kind of line up like that, that shows me that that's probably a level. And again, we look for areas that have confluence, and so that one, and that's right at that level. We're getting right up to it right now. So we've got another 10 points or so. So that's kind of like, I'm looking at that level. It's like, okay, if we break that, whoa, we may have some room to go up. So again, I'm not saying we're going up. I'm making a plan for if the price breaks that level right there, we could be looking at moving up. And then when we go to our smaller charts, let's remember that number, okay? Let's remember that 43 number. So when we go to our smaller charts, our smaller time frames, we can look at that same number on those time frames and see, wow, okay, now I see why you said 43, not just from the daily, but how it transfers to your smaller charts. And you can see how we did get above it, but look what happened. We didn't close above it on the daily. So we got above it. We wicked above it last night, but then it came back down. So I want to see today, can we close above that mark, that 43 mark? If we can close above that, then I feel like, hey, we could have a nice move up today. So let's talk about a move down. If we were to see a move down, what kind of areas would be looking at as levels and to hit?
Well, we've got a great bodies to wicks on the first one's really tough, because do you put it where it is or where the gap showed up? But on the second one, it gives me a good range, so I'm going to use that one right now. And then what I'll actually do is go into the price action to see if I can see which level looks more relevant. So if I'm going to compare the two, I'm going to look at the difference in 39.27 or 39.14. So I actually might just type that down here so I remember that.
Yeah, 39.27. I think it was 39.13, right?
14, yeah.
39.14. So far, folks, the numbers that we have down are 39.43 on the top side. So if we get by 39.43 on the top side, well, 39.60 would be our next level to go. Then 39.94. You've already got it, or you already got the levels, Travis. So I don't even have to. Right, there's our next level if we're going up. Then there's our next level if we're going up. So now we could be looking at a 100-point run up to the top. So on the bottom side now, you've stated 39.14. Right, and 39.27.
That's the tough one. That's the one I'm trying to decide between. The one I actually like right now is definitely this all the way down at 3,900, really.
3,900. So we can do 39.27, 39. I'm sorry, 39.27, 39.14, and 3,900. And again, what we're trying to do, folks, is we're not trying to predict where we think the market's going to go. We're trying to have a plan for if it goes there. Now, if it chops, we're going to have a chop zone too. If it just goes sideways and chops, then we know, okay, this is probably not going to be our market to trade today. Poor Mike's having a little trouble staying.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
There we go. You should be all right.
Yeah, I keep admitting him.
Yeah, be sure you're not. Be sure you're not clicking on remove.
No, I'm not.
I hear him coming.
I'm on my Mac. It
doesn't
work the same way as PC.
Cool. So, all right. So I think we've got some pretty decent levels on the daily. 39.43 on the top. If it gets above that, wow, could have a nice run up, 100-point run up, I would say. If it drops below where we're currently at, and as we get to our smaller charts, we'll be able to define that even a little bit better. It'll make a little more sense. But here we're just trying to get some levels. So 39.27. 39.14, and then 3,900. I like it. Anything else on the dailies anybody would like to talk about or collaborate with? In fact, what we could do, Travis, is maybe write those on your screen real quick, those numbers, so in case folks didn't get them, or I can type them in chat even. So on the top side, I'll do it on here. Top side. It's going to be 39.43, and then below PA can be 39.27, 39.14, and 3,900. And if it gets below 3,900, well, we could see a big drop then.
That's when it's a big kind of question, right? Like we're in a big support area, but also it's just not there. So it's tested it twice. A lot of times that is when it crashes through it.
Correct.
So I can't be too set on, well, if we're in this box, it has to go back up now. It has done it twice, but we're in a big downtrend, and oftentimes downtrends will break through key levels in the direction of the trend.
Correct. So again, we're not trying to predict where we think the price is going to go, folks. We're trying to have a plan for when it goes there. That's the whole difference, in what we're doing and what I've seen other people do is they're literally trying to predict where they think the price is going to go that day. We're not that good. I don't think anybody's that good to actually predict where the price is going to go, but you can have a plan for when it goes there, So that sure looks like a downtrend to me, doesn't it?
Yeah, shrink that a little bit. There's our longer term down for the last month.
Yep.
Not more, actually.
Yep. So, folks, what we try to do is we try to get our levels on the daily charts, and then what we do is we transfer those numbers and see, do they make sense on the shorter term execution type chart. So we got 10 minutes left. So let's go over to the 4 hour.
Here's where you can see that day took off from. We pulled up and we had two different turnarounds right at the top of an older kind of move there, but two turnarounds and then push down was really.
That was our Wednesday day, right?
Mm-hmm.
The big move down Wednesday. And then Thursday, we kind of went sideways a little bit, came up a little bit. And then last night on this 4 hour, that green is last night. Yep. So now we're kind of right in the middle. We're at a spot to where, honestly, folks, this could be a nice retracement on a new lower low, or it could be the start of a retracement to get us, back up closer to 618, back up to that 4,000, 4050, basically a back move back up to your channel, top of that channel. We're kind of in no man's land right now, to be honest.
Agreed. But if anything, it's a retracement. So at any point in time, if it took off down, I'd have to relieve. I can't have too much of a long bias. If you
No,
will.
100%.
It doesn't have to go back up.
It does not have to go back up. Cool.
One
Anybody
hour.
have any comments on the 4 hour? Anything that stands out to them? One thing we did
in a 4 hour indecision candle right now. This is the only thing that stands out to me.
Yeah. One thing that stands out to me is that we didn't make a lower low on that move down. So now we've got a double bottom. So
Yeah, that's a key level too.
Yeah, that's a key level too. So we did not make a lower low. This is the first time we really haven't made a lower low that we've got a double bottom. So we can kind of look at that and say, okay, I'm not saying the price is going to go up from here. I'm just saying that we do have a double bottom. It did not make a strong lower low. So just something to think about, right? Doesn't mean the price can't go lower, but this is really one of the first times it hasn't done that. If you look up, look up this, look to your left, up this downtrend here. This is one of the first times it hasn't done that on a nice move down. So we'll see. We'll see. That's all we can do. But yeah, let's go to the hour chart, 60-minute. Got 9 minutes. Okay. This looks like, boy, okay, so if you draw your fib tool, this looks like we have a nice retracement here
Already
happening.
done.
It's already done. There it is. So what would be a reasonable to get back up to? I mean, 4,000? That's 618.
4,000, 618. And a different way of looking at that is even a big up move today could still be a longer term retracement for a down move.
There you go. There you go.
So just because the market starts from OB, goes 20 points up, doesn't mean I should hang on to, it has to go up, because if it turns around, it could crash right back down according to a longer term trend.
Mm-hmm. That's why having levels all the way up on this way up would be ideal. So if you've got levels in as we get down to a 15 and a 5-minute chart, maybe levels that folks drew on the way down on Wednesday. Guess what? Those same levels are going to come into play on the way up. If it does want to retrace to a 618 today, so it's also, we're also in a good spot here at 38% for the price to come down, aren't we?
Yeah. So I gotta again just back the bias off, if you will, and just
Back
let
the
the market
bias
show
off.
me where to go.
Exactly, and that's hard to do because we want the price to do one thing or another. A lot of times we get it in our mind, and when we really just need to be neutral and trade what we see, not what we think.
Right. And there is that underlying, for example, if the market shows me that it should go down today and I see a downtrend on my 5-minute, I do have a little more confidence when it lines up with the larger charts. It definitely becomes confluent. So it's okay to have a plan to say, if it goes down, I like this more, but I can't say it has to go down.
Yeah. And you see the bottoms here too are starting to line up. Going up too. Something else to just kind of look at. Not to say we're going up for sure, but these bottoms are starting to line up pretty nicely for a nice little move up to 4,000 or so.
That could also be a line that if it's broken, kind of relieves that support and we see it fall out.
You bet. So, and if anybody has questions, don't hesitate to ask. We can't go deep into questions, but if somebody sees something or, this is FNL's about sharing and collaborating. So it's not about necessarily Travis and I sitting up here and pontificating. But if anybody else has some comments or questions, don't hesitate to type in chat or even get on the mic. That's what this is all about. So, all right, let's go to the 15.
And that's when we start to think, are we in an uptrend or downtrend? Everything before this said downtrend, remember? Daily, weekly, 240, 60, all say downtrend. And now the 15's like, well, we did have a big move before, but for the last day and a half, we've been going up.
And now we're breaking levels, aren't we?
We're right at the 200 too, so that's oftentimes the last line of defense, if you will, in a trend.
Yep.
So the 15, if it breaks through that, could show from a shorter term perspective that we're seeing some upward momentum.
And real quick, I'm just going to want to show my levels real quick, just so people can see. Let me share here real quick. And I have them in 2 different colors, so I'm trying to decide if I want green or red. So maybe you guys can give me some feedback. And these are levels that I built on the way down So I'm going to stop your sharing. There you go.
Yeah, put it.
So these are levels that I built on the way down, folks. On this way down, I had these levels. So now look, we're starting to break these levels. Now look at the resistance level we have here. So if we move up and break these levels, well, now I've got levels to trade to. See that? Because at some point, do we not think that this area is going to get reclaimed? Is it going to be today? I don't know. But at some point, we are trading an index. At some point, this price action will get reclaimed. So my chop zone now is going to be pretty significant. And we'll draw the chop zone on Travis's charts, but you can see where we're at now. We've already gotten by one of the key levels. So this is why I'm thinking, okay, maybe we're going to be looking long today. But if the price does decide to drop down, below 39.20, well, guess what? Now I have to start thinking short. So levels, this is why, folks, when we have big moves, try to go back and draw your levels if you don't have them already drawn, because what's going to happen is, guess what? The price is going to come back through those levels again, and they're going to be relevant. Those levels stay relevant. Wouldn't you say, Travis?
Absolutely.
Go ahead and share.
It's been super surprising to me, if you will, to see how many levels stay relevant, not only through the end of the day. I mean, early on, I was surprised to see something go from the morning through opening bell and be respected at noon. And then I was surprised to see a level today be respected tomorrow. And now I just wrote an article about a level that was relevant 8 months ago and is still relevant today. And it's like, I would have probably literally laughed at somebody if man, I have this level drawn from like February of 21. And you're like, what? Like in playbacks, right? Like you're doing playbacks. Like, no, for now. And then you show why it was relevant then. And sometimes it's undeniable to where it's like, yeah, that's the same level and you can see it. So it's again, super fascinating to me.
5 minutes.
Helpful too.
4 minutes. 4 minutes. 3 minutes. 3 minutes and 14 seconds until opening bell. And folks, we're really doing more for opening bell. We're doing the opening range. We're practicing that versus taking a trade at opening bell. We've kind of switched our focus a little bit versus, clicking at opening bell and getting in a trade versus practicing a strategy. And that's the opening range strategy. So we look at the first 30 seconds of the market and which way the momentum wants to go. And then we look to take some multi-contract trades getting out of that. We're doing it on sim. We're not doing it live. We just don't have enough experience with it, but we're collaborating with other traders and one or two in particular that have a lot of experience doing it. So we'll start getting ready for our 30-second opening range. So you can see how they'll level at 43 that we're looking to get above. Or above 44, that area, which we're at right now.
We're there.
So we're there.
I'm extending a couple of mine. You can see how we had a double top back there. So I extended that box forward. You can see how what was resistance now became support. Really good turnaround there. And then also I'm going to do the next one as well. So I'm going to pull up the properties on the other one. That was another bodies to wicks area. And then extend it. So go to end time. Go to the 21st, which is over the weekend. So that box will just go to the weekend. I'll decide on Monday if I want to continue extending it. That helps me to realize which boxes are which. So I have two main key levels here. One of them we just showed a turnaround off of from 39.33, 32.33 area. And the other one's down at 39.20, 19.20 area. And you can see again bodies to wicks drawn from 18.20 and then midnight on May 19th. Not that I was up then, that's where the level was drawn from. So we'll see. Just had a lot of rejection from that level at 43, right at it. That's the one Rob mentioned from the daily.
Okay, here we go. We're going to get into our 30-second candle here in a second. So Travis, you might want to jump over to your 30-second chart.
Sure, we have over a minute, but yes.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on my 30-second chart. You're right.
You're
I was like, wait a second, here we go.
Yeah.
I think that's how I got the wrong 30-second candle the other day. I was on my 30-second chart.
Rob's excited.
I'm like, yes, let's do this.
Yeah, I stay on my 5 minute until the last 30 seconds, then I switch over.
That's a good idea, Randy. That's a really good idea.
And I kind of like both directions. I don't mind which way the 30-second tells me to trade today.
Me neither.
I mean, we have a retracement that if the momentum went up, there's a lot of headroom from the last 7 weeks being down.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the last 7 weeks have been down, so the sentiment is definitely down. So today's a day I really do want to relieve that bias.
Yep.
Here we are seeing some emotion. I'm back to my 30-second now. Let's see what happens. So the next candle will be our range. I'm going to actually explore the EMAs on the 30-second chart. And here we go for opening bell.
Pretty big range.
I see that. Still got 10 seconds.
Wow. Yep. Big range, you guys. Big range.
There it is. So it's 39.28. Is that 75? Yeah, 39.28.75 up to 39.36.75. And now I got to get in out the bottom. No, I don't. No, I want to be in out the bottom or the top.
All right, we're in out the top.
Same.
So hopefully we don't get too chopped up here, folks. Let's just have this run out the top right now. So what we're looking to do here is a 4-contract trade. We're trying to grab momentum after opening bell after the first 30 seconds. And for me, it's a 4-contract trade. I think Travis does a, yeah, you do.
I'm still for, yeah.
Too. Yeah.
I just scale out the first two together right
There you
now as a sample size. Well,
come on, let's get to our pay line. The first pay line is at 4 points. Nope.
I'm out of that one.
So this is not a trade for the faint of heart, because you can definitely get chopped up. And this is something we're learning about. You know, when do we start reducing risk? When do we keep doing it? Remember, we're still just practicing this. We're still trading our normal way, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to wait for the price to tell us what it wants to do before we get into our trading mode, right? Our normal, hey, let's look for confirmation of a turnaround, you know, following the trend after a 30 to 70% retracement, you know, clear our stop, have room for profit. So we're trying a strategy right out of opening bell, you know, before we get into that groove of, okay, what's the trend? What levels are we breaking? You know, then we'll start doing our regular trading. Last night's opening range, boy, you talk about just zooming out of it. Man, it was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It took off and never looked back. Well, it came back one time, once or twice, and retested the opening range, which was nice because I was able to get in last night when it retested. And then we had a nice run up last night. Again, we still haven't really determined our direction of which way we want to trade yet. We have not. One nice thing too about the opening range is it gives us a direction of which way to trade. So if we start seeing all the price action operating above the opening range, the 30-second opening range, well, it kind of leads me to believe that maybe we might, you know, want to be looking long versus looking short.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, this is just a chop city. So again, folks, remember, we're just doing this on sim. We're practicing this opening range. And right now, as you can see, we're just operating within the opening range.
Yeah.
We have not picked our direction yet.
It's poking up just enough to pick up an order, then running back the other way.
Yep.
I'm wondering, so one of the best ways to find out is to repeat the trade until you get a sample size, but there may be other factors that we miss at times, whether it's I mean, could be anything. I don't know yet, but I think that's one thing about trades is that you feel like you know exactly how you're going to take that trade. And then over a sample size of 20 or 30 trades, you start to realize all these little minute details of, well, what happens when I see this, or what happens when I see that? What do I do when this happens? Whatever it might be. And the more you do it, the more you get to really critique yourself on the little details that you don't see until you put in the work yourself.
Correct.
Right
And that's
now.
one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of back testing. I mean, I like back testing for, deciding, hey, should I continue with this or not? But I truly don't believe in when you back test something and you just get stats that you're ever going to have confidence in it.
Right. So what Rob's saying is not he doesn't like playbacks. What he's saying is he doesn't like an automated system that you can program your trade into and say, how was I doing?
Yeah.
Because you don't believe in it. Even if you see the results, you don't see the price action as it happens. So on a daily basis, even though you know what you should do, you don't trust that decision as much as if you actually sat there and took the trade yourself. So here we are out the bottom. Maybe we'll see. It is the first time we've closed outside of the 30-second range. I don't know that that's super relevant. Might be one of those details.
Yeah, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 closes out the top side. Well, 3 closes. We had
2.
Actually 2. Yeah, the 2 green candles closed out. The 2 red ones opened. Yeah. Right. So we just hit our first pay line.
Oh. Yeah, I kissed mine. It hit my order, didn't pick it up. So
yep.
If it does, I'll have a scale in back at the OB range.
So the goal of this trade is to catch momentum. And your goal is, to have really get this momentum before you get chopped up. And I think anybody who's seen opening bell or who has traded opening bell for any length of time has seen the price just go. Doesn't look back. Doesn't chop like this. If you can get one of those a week, a lot of times it'll pay for your chops.
Well, I woulda, coulda, shoulda scaled in.
Unusual to see one a week.
What's that, Randy?
It's not too unusual to see one a week. Sometimes
No, it's not. Yeah.
Sometimes you might have to wait for 2 weeks and get it back.
There's 2. So I just hit my second pay line. So I made 4 points on my first trade, 8 points on my second trade. So now I'm going to pull my stop down to +1 for my final 2 contracts. So the worst that can happen is if this comes up and hits me and goes through, I'll still take a point on each contract. So at 1 contract, it'd be a 14-point trade. So I'm looking for a 3rd contract to fill at +12 at 3916.75. And then I'll have my final one as a runner. Just move it out of the way.
Same. So I have my first 2 fills at 4, and then the next one at 9. And now if it comes back, I'll scale in, but I do have a runner that's down out of the way on my last one. It's frustrating. I think you heard me say because it literally hit my fill and then went back to where I would scale in and then ran down. Yeah. So in a different world universe, it picked up my fill and I got to scale back in. But in this case, it just came back to where I'd have an entry after hitting where my fill was. So missed a portion of the trade, if you will, but it's not necessarily that I missed it. The execution was what I should have done. It kissed my order. Here we are retesting right under it. So we're back in.
And I just stopped out. No, I didn't stop out, but my final 2 contracts, I took a point each on. So. Now let's see if we can go out the top side. I mean, because now I'm out of the trade totally. Oh, I missed getting in again. Oh, don't do that to me. There we go. We're back in. No, we're not.
Same.
I didn't get in. Yeah, I kissed
39, 28, 50.
I had mine at 75. Same thing I did last night, right? There it goes.
Yeah, there it is.
Now we're in. So folks that like to click buttons too, this is a fun little trade to take. While you're waiting for the trend to develop, while you're waiting for levels to be broken and decide which way you actually want to trade. So it's a fun little exercise.
At this point, it's like do it for the sample size. I'm getting chopped up a little bit today, and it's tough. It's like, well, I just trade till I realize what I'm doing wrong, I guess you'd say.
Yep.
You get the rhythm.
Yep.
Every time I hear that, I think of the Cool Runnings movie. I don't know if y'all are familiar. The bobsled movie where they're like, feel the rhythm, feel the rush.
Oh, the Jamaican one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that. That's a pretty good one.
Every time somebody's like, yeah, feel the rhythm, I'm picturing like, here we go.
So here we go at the top side. This is what I'm hoping for, folks. I really see a lot of opportunities on the top side today. So I'm hoping that this comes through. But I mean, hey, look, I'm going to trade what I see, not what I think. But I really would love to see this come through the top side. But hey, it didn't, did it? So now if somebody said, Rob, hey, Rob, I want to go short now. I would ask them, what stop are you trying to clear? So if you're trying to clear a stop going short.
I'd also ask them how often they trade within 10 minutes of OB because it's very volatile at times.
There you go.
You might mark that as if 1R. I used to mark those as 1R, my track record, meaning first retracement. So the trend might not necessarily be set, but we got a good turnaround and headroom. It's like, well, at OB, it might be worth a stab, but it's a little different than the trend being set at 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
What was I doing here?
So now I'm back on my 5-minute chart. So I went ahead and put the opening range on my 5-minute chart, and I can operate the same way. It just looks a little more cleaner to me, for me. But as you guys can see, I mean, we don't have a clear direction yet. We tried to go down, but if you look at the 5-minute chart, boy, it's just one big wick. That green candle at 940. So it doesn't look quite as nice as it does on Travis's chart, where he has a nice little pattern there. It really looks just ugly on the 5-minute chart.
Yeah, you can see today how often it just poked out the top side and came back in over and over, and same thing on the bottom, poked out the bottom and came back in over and over. So,
yep. Not ideal. Not ideal for the opening range trade.
One of the things I'm learning with the opening range trade is the limitations. Because the days it works, it's awesome. But how do I decide how to slow down from a repeatable standpoint? It's easy in hindsight. Man, I should have stopped trading before I was down blank amount this morning. But how do you set those rules ahead of time to actually stop when you need to stop instead of regretting not stopping?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So that's something I'm working on myself, something I'm going to have to refine, is that when the trade works well, it works well. But there's days like this where literally it's poked out the top over and over, stopped us out. Here it is again. We'll see.
It got me in. I'm in long.
Got me in too.
So come on, just make a move now. Just make a move now.
I mean, same thing could apply to your own trade zone.
Sure could.
You got to know when not to trade as much as you know when to trade. And to me, the first is the more important because it's easier for me to overtrade than it is not to trade.
Yeah.
I can.
I don't have any problems overtrade. I mean, but sitting here and not clicking buttons, that's my problem. You know, I feel like I should be in a trade all the time. And realistically, I shouldn't. I should only look for trades that are in my zone. So now if we can, if we can move up, folks, and I would say if we can get above, 43 was our mark, and we did get above that a couple times earlier this morning, but it did not stay above that. So it came back down and operated below that. So now I've kind of moved that up to, if we get above 49, now I think if we can close above 49, then I think that'll be our key level, really. So I've kind of moved my 43 up, and you see it where Travis has it. He has that 43 on this 30-second chart. On his 5-minute chart, you guys will see at 8 a.m., with a wick, it came up to 48.75. So that's kind of the area that I'm looking at. We did hit our first pay line too. We made 4 points.
I missed mine by a quarter point. So there you go. There's the other side of that same equation, if you will.
But folks, I'm not doing anything right now on the live account. I'm waiting for levels to get broken, and for me to have a direction to trade confidently. Right now, I don't have a direction to trade confidently. Right now, we're just practicing this opening range trade, giving us something to talk about, and it's fun. But again, we're still looking for that direction that this price wants to go. On the bottom side, I'm not going short really until we get below 39.15 or so. I'm not going to look to go short. I'm not going to look really to go long until we can break 39.48 or so. So if I'm in between those numbers, I'm just chopping, and I'm like we're doing now, and I'm not really don't want to get in that kind of environment. Good job, you got in. I just missed it. Oh, this will be the one that goes. Here we go. Watch.
It's going to be the one that misses my fill again and comes back to stop me out. So it's going to be 2 in a row. It might be, though.
I think this is the one that's going to go.
Okay, I need to split my...
So if anybody has questions about what we're doing or about the levels that we're talking about right now. All right, we're back in. So I got in on the retest. So the price came up, it came back and retested that opening range, and it got me in. And that's what I did last night. I got in on a retest, and boy, it just took off all night, and it was a huge trade last night, the opening range trade.
That's awesome because, well, did you already get in and fill and then get the retest, or you just saying you got okay, that's still good, though.
I got the retest, yeah.
Still
and
perfect
because got knocked out, yeah.
Yeah, same.
So we're going to have to wait a little bit, folks. Wait for this price to decide what it wants to do. You know, I think this is a point where I almost am like, okay, I'm done. You know, just, I mean, we can continue to gather data, but you know,
that's what I was saying. Today's a clear, like, got chopped up if I force the trade as it exited on both sides every single time. So that's kind of going to be my notes is like, at what point should I have stopped? Or are there some of these trades that I'd avoid maybe due to not closing outside of the box on a 30-second or something minuscule that maybe we're missing? So we'll see.
Yep. Why don't you
5 minute.
Yeah, put on your 5 minute so folks can see that. So now that you guys can see my chop zone. So if we're operating in this area from there to there, I know it's a big one, folks, but I don't have no idea what the trend wants to do. That's just the type of price action I'm looking to stay out. So I want the price to come down, close below that mark down here or above the mark up here, and then I'll be ready to go. Okay, then I'll be ready to go. But until that happens, then this is just my chop zone, and we could just be doing what we're doing right now, back and forth, and that's really, really tough to trade for me personally. At least it's tough for me to trade.
Just a side note: if over trading is your problem, you might end up in a boat similar to myself, where 50 to 90% of my blow up days happen between opening bell and about 10:30.
Yeah.
And I've even had to write that out in my notes. I've written out stuff about how key levels are much more easily broken right after OB, because at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you might see the perfect level. You're like, man, if we make it there, it has to turn. And OB will be a freight train and just run through it like it's not even there. So just a thought, if overtrading is your problem, you might step away for 30 minutes at OB. There's nothing wrong with doing enough sample size to say, you know, between 9:30 and 10, I'm going to get eaten up if I sit in front of my computer because I can't stay out of a trade.
Can't keep my finger off the mouse.
I say that because that's me. I'm not pointing a finger at anyone but myself. I've had blow up days where I'll look back and be like, wow, you're so dumb. Like, what were you even thinking? Like I have my rules. I have them set out to a point that I know what I should do. And something about, oh, it has to go up. Oh, the emotions here. Okay, it's going to go down now. Let me get in short. Actually, and if I ever look back and I realize I went long and then short and then long and the positions are almost the same, it's like, Travis, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, you're right. I'm in the same boat, man. I think, honestly, a lot of traders are like that. And that goes back to one, a lack of patience, and two, sitting in front of their computers and thinking that because I'm sitting in front of my computer, I should be trying to make money or making money. You know,
well, it's a very different attitude. Anything else in life, you kind of grit your teeth and work harder and you'll get more done, or you'll make more, or you'll do better. And trading, gritting your teeth to try and work harder is a recipe for disaster. Saying I need to kill it today in trading, I'm going to make 100 points instead of 5 today. Yeah, good luck not being negative 100 points or something. It's funny how that works when you try and do too much and step out of your zone. And that's where one of the phrases I really like to repeat is how making good decisions has to be more important than making money in order to make money. So you have to care more about following your rules than you do about how much money you make today. in order to be comfortably profitable with how much money you make today. But at the same time, if you care so much about the one trade, you start to lean towards that 100% trader mentality where you see yourself a little positive. It's like, man, I need to just take this $50, 100, whatever it is, 1,000, whatever it is. If it's not your rules and you get out early, then you're kind of being greedy and turning your risk management upside down, depending on the situation. So we're assuming you're breaking your rules to get out early because you're greedy, and that's a very common habit.
So I am still up, even with last night, even with this chop session, I'm still up 110 points from last night.
Nice.
Because I left 2 contracts to run last night instead of 1. I thought I'd try something different. I said, you know what? I'm just going to get out of my first 2 contracts, and then I'm going to move my final 2 contracts up out of the way. And I literally forgot about them. I was trading live. I forgot about them. So I'm still up 110 points from last night.
That's good.
It's amazing. It's literally amazing, folks. And if you look at opening range from last night, from the reopen, you'll see why it was just a straight move up. And I never pulled my stop up. So I finally got out of the trade when I was up. Well, let me tell you how many points I was up. This would be based on 1 contract. Divided by 5, 176.2 points. Based on 1 contract. Crazy.
So you're saying it was like 88 points on 2, or are you counting your first scale outs too?
No, I counted my first scale outs too.
Okay.
Because the total was $884, I think. So I divided that by 5. So that gives me my total points at 1 contract. And that's kind of how we have to do it because it's pretty tough. I mean, I guess you could average it too, right?
Both work as long as you're transparent with which one you're using.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's really easy for somebody to get caught up. Say somebody's trading 8 contracts, they fill a 4-3, so they made really 4 points on the market, but they're like, guys, I just made 32 points, and half the room's like, the market's not even moving. What does he mean?
It's only gone 6 points today.
Yeah, like, what does he mean he made 32? Like, this guy's full of it. Like,
yeah.
So as long as you're transparent, I think that's the big thing. When you start to scale out, you're exactly right. It's much more difficult to talk about it from a 1 contract perspective, and I like to average because it gives me perspective on whether I'm outperforming my risk management over time.
Yeah.
So I'm done getting chopped up with the OB range. We do have sim millions this morning. Just a thought. Anybody?
Ooh, this could be a good sim millions, man, if we can find a direction.
I think so too. A lot of back and forth right now in a key level. I think when it chooses a direction, we could see something pretty volatile.
Yeah, we could see some big movement today, and it is a Friday. Fridays are, we've had a red candle all week, so we'll see. We'll see if it continues red or now it decides to pop back up. So everybody get the email.
Traders that want it to go up and ones that want it to go down.
You guys get the email? Yep, we got the email. Cool. Just want to make sure. Reminder email. If you don't get that and went to your spam folder, be sure you mark info@futuresnetworks.com as not spam. And we're just waiting, folks. I mean, I wish there was more to talk about, but the price has just not picked its direction yet. I don't even have a bias because I have as many closes outside, or I have as much price action outside the opening range as I do on both sides. So typically what I'll be looking at is, okay, where has more of the price action been? Has it been above the opening range or has it been below the opening range? And that'll help me kind of with a bias. But so far, we don't have that. It's almost equal.
Madeline typed in chat. She's like, Fridays are Rob's bestest, favoriteest day.
They are if I'm fishing, Madeline, but I'm not fishing. So I've been enjoying being in the room, you guys, honestly. And one of the things I decided to do too was quit pre-fishing for tournaments on Fridays. So, because I found that I couldn't find the same fish on the very next day, they weren't there. And I'd be banging my head against the wall trying to catch these fish that were there the day before, and they weren't there the next day, you know. And then I go 2 days later, and there they are. I'm like, you.
Yeah, I like the idea of that. You know as well as anyone, you can scare fish away. I mean,
you can.
you're standing over their bed. They're not going to like you too much. And if you overfish their spot, same thing. So what Rob's saying really does make a lot of sense. And that he's kind of scaring his own fish away by catching them. Yep. He chooses the good spot, catches the great. How many pre-fishing days did you have that you would have placed in a tournament the next day?
My gosh.
Go pre-fish all the other guys' places, Rob.
And good morning, Miss Madeline. Hope you're doing
community
well.
holes. They're community holes anyways. So a lot of them, they're community spots. But yeah, no, you know what? Last year we won Angler of the Year, and we attribute that to changing our pre-fishing day to Tuesdays.
I like that.
Yep. So we literally found locations where there were fish that were hanging out. Then we would go back. Then we'd have 3 locations. Then on tournament day, we would go back and say, okay, I'm going to fish. We're going to find where are the fish in this location today. We know there's fish there in maybe a 50-yard spot, whatever. We know there's fish there. We know the spot with on the spot. Where are these fish? We'd go find the fish, find out where they're at, instead of trying to go to specific spots that we were there the day before. And who knows? And we didn't catch a lot of fish. Like on pre-fishing day, we would maybe catch one and then say, okay, we're not going to catch any more. So it's not like we would, just blow the spot out. But there is it's pretty amazing tournament fishing and how much strategy there is involved. All right, I'm going to go refresh my coffee, Travis, so you can get your coffee refreshed here as well.
You want to cut the stream, or are we going to leave it rolling?
Yeah, why don't we shut the stream down? So thanks everybody for coming out. Not a lot happening for opening bell, but we do have a plan for the day. We have a plan if the price goes up. We have a plan if the price goes down. And if the price goes sideways like it's doing right now, well, we got a plan for that too, right? We're going to stay out.
And to anybody hanging out, maybe on YouTube or in the background, we do have a trading competition in-house for our members where we trade sims, so not with real money, but we trade to see who can make the most points over an hour and a half period over the morning, and it helps, not just in that aggressive trading. It can help in so many different ways as an exercise. What we do is we use one contract and require traders to stick to their trade for 10 minutes before they change anything, meaning their profit or stop, they have to leave exactly where it's at for at least 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, if you want to try and trail your stop or extend your game, whatever you might want to do, you're welcome to do, as long as you don't enter extra contracts, obviously. But the goal there is almost like an exercise. We understand that not every trader is going to keep things so simple to one contract, but I truly believe that every trader can benefit from having to choose a spot on the market and say, I trust this for 10 minutes. That's where my stop needs to be. I know where I'm wrong, and I know where my gain can be from a risk management standpoint. So again, in-house traders, we have an in-house competition, and we do have prizes as people move up over time. So We'll talk more about that later.
Yeah, we're gonna probably here in the next probably by the end of summer, we'll have some prizes available for people that top 3 and then consistency 1. So be ready for that.
I was supposed to do my homework let's stop the stream before I say I didn't do my homework.
That's okay, buddy. All right, guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so we're going to shut her down. We'll see you guys all on Monday. I'm not sure if we're going to stream Monday. We're going to typically stream a couple days a week. So if you like to see us every day, shoot an email to info@futuresnetworks.com. We'll get you a pass, and you can decide if this is a great place for you to learn to trade.
Right. But again, it's not fair to our members if we try and help our members but then stream everything every single day. It kind of takes away from members who do pay money to be here, because I love FNL. It's so valuable.